I have to say it gives me tremendous pleasure to present Gina Prince-Bythewood with the Filmmaker Tribute Award. Hopefully you've all seen The Woman King, which I think is extraordinary. And this is her 6th movie, and all of her work has tremendous amount of variety, tremendous amount of complexity, and all the characters are equally as provocative and mesmerizing. So The Woman King is a sweeping historical epic, a superb action adventure, beautifully nuanced, and a fierce examination of the horrors of slavery and colonial exploitation. As you might expect from the author of Love and Basketball, Gina was a superb athlete, lettering in track and field, but this woman is a woman who very much runs her own race and knows that film is too powerful, too sacred an art to settle for mere frivolity. Her movies entertain us wildly and widely, but her greater aims are authenticity, intimacy, empathy, passion, and purpose. Please welcome Gina Prince-Bythewood to the stage.
Thank you, guys. Kathryn once said, if there's a specific resistance to women making movies, I just choose to ignore that as an obstacle for 2 reasons. I can't change my gender, and I refuse to stop making movies. There should be more women directing. I think there's just not the awareness that it's really possible. Kathryn was my possible. Coming out of UCLA Film School, I watched her moves, studied her films, listened to her interviews. She made my dream of directing in the big sandbox real. She put a Black woman at the center of an action film. I study your work because you're one of our greatest filmmakers. And the fact that you are a woman showed me that I could one day be that too. It is a true honor to have you present to me tonight. Thank you. You know, there's this thing female directors and Black directors talk about. We are so often asked about the struggle and the fight to get our films made, but we are rarely asked about the craft of making it. The research, the world building, building performances, lens choices. Now, the struggle is absolutely real. I've been in a sustained fight for 20 years to center Black women in my work. As a filmmaker, I write and direct what I want to see. And yet we also make films for an audience, and I fight to stretch that audience. In a climate where critical race theory, Black history, and Black women are seen as a threat or invisible, I want us to see ourselves as beautiful, heroic, vulnerable, badass, complicated, worthy of love. But more so, I need these truths to be reflected back to the world. When you see the trailer for The Woman King, do you see incredible women or do you see other? Do you see warriors to be inspired by or do you see other? I want you to see yourself in my characters the same way that I see myself in yours. When I was in my early 20s, I tracked down my birth mother and found out that I was most likely the product of a rape. In the years after, this narrative stuck with me. How can anything good come out of something so evil? It has been a shameful knowledge that I've shared very sparingly until I met with Viola Davis about directing The Woman King. I was in the middle of my pitch. It was actually going very well. And then suddenly I'm telling her the truth about my guttural connection to her character's journey, and I started to cry. In my head, I was screaming, "What the hell is happening?" Because you do not you don't cry in directing. But there I was out crying Viola like her famous scene from Fences. I left thinking I blew it, and then the call came in. Viola wanted me to lead the film. She said the fact that I could show that level of vulnerability meant that she could trust me as a director, and that she knew I would fight like a warrior to tell this film the right way. When I watch my reel, I see a filmmaker sharing her story, her desire to be seen, to be loved, to be necessary, to have a purpose in this world. I take great pride in my craft, but craft without a why, without a purpose is meaningless. The personal, the why, this is what drives my work, this is what fuels my fight, and now I realize it is the most important tool of my craft. I'm so grateful to the Gothams for this year's Filmmaker Tribute. Thank you for honoring the work, the craft, and yes, the struggle and fight. And to my fellow filmmakers, as Azoki said in that clip, you are powerful more than you even know. Be warriors. Our stories, our truths are worthy. Thank you.